Hilda wriggled off the troll's nose and slid down its body onto the ground. The monster reared up tall. It raked the air with razor-sharp claws, and the jingling of the bell on the end of its nose was drowned out by its blood-curdling roars. Hilda was already off and running. Twig sprinted at her heels. Together they ran across the plain, dodging boulders and bounding over ditches. The troll lumbered after them. For such a big-bellied creature, it was remarkably fast. "This way, Twig," yelled Hilda. "If we cross the river, we might lose it." They headed for the crossing point and dashed down the bank. Hilda took the stepping stones 2 at a time, sailing through the air with great, long strides. Twig scampered after her. The troll plowed down the bank, slipping on the wet surface of the first stepping stone, and fell into the river with a mighty splash. "Phew," said Hilda, "safe at last." But she celebrated too soon. The troll stood up, blew 2 jets of snotty water from its nostrils, and began to wade towards them through the swirling river. "The water only comes up to its waist," cried Hilda. "Run, Twig!" In the open meadow on the west bank of the river, a flock of wolves were perched on a circle of stones. As Hilda and Twig dashed past, the wolves rose into the air with a chorus of angry snuffles. Surrounded on all sides by furry yellow bodies, Hilda could no longer see where she was going. "Hey," she panted, "would you mind flying a little bit high? Ah!" The ground disappeared beneath her feet, and she fell half rolled down a steep, earthy slope, landing in a heap at the bottom. "Ouch," she murmured. She brushed the dirt off her face and opened her eyes. Twig was standing over her, nudging her with his antlers. "Oi," Hilda whispered. "Your antlers are sharp, you know." She looked around. She was lying at the bottom of a gigantic dent in the ground, a crater carpeted with crushed grass and shaped like a clover leaf, a very long clover leaf, with 4 toes. "It's a footprint," Hilda whispered. "Look, Twig, it's as wide as a house. Not even forest giants have feet this big." Twig sniffed at the crushed grass. He growled softly, and the fur on the back of his neck stood on end. "Let's wait here until we're sure the troll has gone," Hilda said. "I can sketch this footprint while we're waiting." She rummaged in her adventuring satchel, but the sketchbook was not there. She must have dropped it in the panic when the troll rock came to life. Hilda punched the earth in frustration. She didn't know which she was sorrier to lose, her map or her troll sketches. The troll sketches. Probably. Trolls hardly ever came down onto the plain. It could be years before she saw another one. The sun set and the moon rose round and bright. They walked around the edge of the footprint until they came to a patch of tangled tree roots. Twig jumped onto Hilda's satchel, and she used the roots to haul herself up the side of the crater, back onto solid ground. She strained her ears to listen for the jingle of a bell, but all she heard was the snuffling of wolves and the gentle babble of the river. "The troll has gone," she said. "Come on, Twig, let's go home." They skirted the blue pine forest, then headed west toward the wilderness. Hilda could see her house in the distance, a little red cabin on the foot of Bobble Hat Mountain. Home, sweet home. They passed the catfish pond where Hilda swam in summertime, and the hollow bloodbach tree which was great for building dens. Orange light shining from the windows of her house told her that Mum had already lit a fire in the hearth. Dinner would be on the table soon, a piping hot stew most likely, and a big bowl of rowan berries. Ding-a-ling-ling. Hilda's blood froze. She turned. Out from the shadow of the bloodbach tree stepped the troll. Its eyes shone in the moonlight. Its mouth twisted into a horrible grimace. Its claws reached out towards her. "Nice knowing you, Twig," whispered Hilda. The troll waved its stubby arms and roared long and loud, but there was something odd about the sound. It was more of a moan than a roar. "Listen to that," whispered Hilda. "I think it's in distress." Suddenly, it all made sense. The eyes shining with tears, the mouth twisted in pain, stubby arms trying to reach the bell on the end of that long nose. Hilda stepped forward. "What's up?" she said. Is the sound of the bell upsetting you? Are you having trouble taking it off? Don't worry, Mr. Troll. I can fix that for you. Ignoring Twig's yelps of warning, Hilda darted forward and climbed up the troll. It was smooth, like clay, and it smelled distinctly of stale bread. Moments later, Hilda was perched on the end of the troll's nose, unhooking the bell. There, she said, throwing the bell to the ground. That won't bother you any more. But as Hilda clambered down the troll's arms and past its ham-like hand, the monster made its move. Huge fingers curled tight around her body and raised her to a gaping mouth. No, wailed Hilda, you can't do that. I was helping you. I felt sorry for you. Stop it. No. The troll's sharp teeth glinted in the moonlight. Its tongue lolled out, blowing foul breath all over Hilda. Ah, she screamed, closing her eyes. Nothing happened. She opened her eyes again. On the tip of the troll's tongue was something she recognized. My sketchbook, cried Hilda, grabbing it with both hands. You wonderful, wonderful creature. Thank you so much. I'd give you a kiss if your breath wasn't so gross. The troll let out a belchy sigh and lowered her to the ground. Thanks again, Hilda called as the monster lumbered off across the moonlit wilderness. 3. Hi, Mum, I'm home, called Hilda, barging in through the front door and pulling off her red rubber boots. The house was toasty warm, as always, and a divine aroma of ginger, nutmeg, and caraway seeds wafted over her. Hilda, Mum jumped up from her desk. You were such a long time. How was your day? Overall, pretty traumatic, sighed Hilda, hugging her, but such is the life of an adventurer. Casserole's ready, said Mum. She went into the kitchen and came back with 2 steaming bowls of stew. Did you draw anything nice for me today? Hilda bent low over the bowl and slurped her stew. I drew a map of the valley. May I see it? Mum reached for Hilda's sketchbook. Ew, it's all wet and sticky, Hilda. What have you been doing with it? Hilda bent lower over her bowl, pretending not to have heard the question. Mum opened the book to Hilda's map of the valley. Bobble Hat Mountain, she chuckled. Yes, I suppose it does look a bit like a bobble hat, with a really tiny bobble. Good job, Hilda. From over by the fire came a doleful voice. The mountains already have names, you know, if you can be bothered to do the research. Hilda jumped and craned her neck to see who had spoken. Lying down next to the fire was a little wooden man with a coconut-shaped head and big, mournful eyes. Hey, cried Hilda, who let him in here? He's harmless, said Mum. To be honest, I didn't even know he was there. That's my point. Hilda flung her arms up in disgust. He always wanders in, uninvited. It's rude. Perhaps he's lonely. Of course he's lonely. He's a total weirdo. It's true he is a bit strange. Mum picked up her bowl and slurped the last few mouthfuls of her stew. But remember, we must seem strange to the various magical creatures who live in this valley. Do you want some rowan berries? Yes, please. Besides, Mum added, the woodman always brings us logs for the fire. That's not rude. That's kind. And, as I always say, kindness is the most important. Hilda, what is this? Mum had turned over another page of Hilda's sketchbook and was staring goggle-eyed at Hilda's drawing of the troll rock. It's a troll rock, said Hilda. I have never seen one before. I couldn't resist doing a few quick drawings. A few? You mean there's more? Mum turned over another page, then another, then another. Her nostrils quivered with anger. Hilda, how did you get such a close-up drawing of its eyes? I'm not sure. I might have stood on its nose to draw that one. You stood on a troll's nose? What if the sun had set while you were drawing? What if a big cloud had passed overhead? Hilda opened her mouth to reply, then shut it again. Sometimes silence was the best course of action. I'll tell you exactly what would have happened, young lady. If that troll had woken up, it would have devoured you in one big gulp, like this. Mum tipped back her head and dropped a rowan berry down her throat. Om nom nom nom. Very nice. Tastiest little girl I've ever eaten all year. Om nom 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 nom. Knock, knock. I'll get it, called Hilda. She ran to the door and opened it. A tiny envelope lay on the doorstep. "Oh no," said Hilda. "That's the 6th one this week." She fetched a magnifying glass from Mum's desk drawer and unfolded the letter. "To the occupiers," she read out loud. "On behalf of the hidden people of the northern elven counties, we demand that you vacate these premises forthwith. Failure to comply with this demand will set in motion a forcible eviction processing culminating in the commination of aforesaid premises." Hilda frowned. "What does commination mean?" "Means smashing something up into tiny pieces," said Mum. "What they're saying is, if we don't move out, they'll chuck us out and smash our house up." "Ha!" said Hilda. "I'd like to see them try." "That's the spirit," said Mum, but her face wore a worried frown. That evening, they sat on the sofa in front of the roaring fire. They toasted marshmallows and played Hilda's favorite board game, Dragon Panic. Twig dozed on the rug at Hilda's feet. Smash! A pebble flew from the window, bounced off Twig's head, and landed on the rug. Twig raised his head and blinked in surprise. Hilda ran to the door and yanked it open. "Hey, you, whatever you are," she yelled at the top of her voice. "Do you think it's funny to throw stones through people's windows? Well, it's not. It's very bad manners. Go away and think about what you've done, and then go to Trollberg on the train and buy us a new window." The wind howled. The rain lashed down. Hilda closed the door and went back to the sofa. Smash, crash, clatter. Dozens of pebbles smashed through the window and rained down on them like hail. "Take cover," shouted Mum. "4. Hilda dived beneath an armchair. Mum took cover under the sofa. Twig jumped onto the coffee table and stood there in the middle of the dragon panic board, growling and snarling. "Attention, residents," announced a stern voice. "Having provided adequate warning and opportunity to cooperate on behalf of the hidden people of the northern elven counties, we shall now implement your forcible eviction from the premises." "Oh no," whispered Hilda. "This is the part where they chuck us out and smash our house up, right?" As Hilda stared at the shattered windows, a vase of flowers on one of the windowsills caught her eye. Through the curve of the vase she glimpsed the shadow of a tiny person wearing a tiny hat. "Look there," she whispered. "That shadow." But before Mom could see anything, the vase teetered and toppled and started to fall. "My favorite vase," cried Mom. The half-full bag of marshmallows rose off the coffee table and flew into the fire. "Hey!" cried Hilda. "We were eating those." The invisible invaders ignored all protests and proceeded to smash up picture frames, ornaments, plates, and bowls. They ripped up books, knocked board games off shelves, and pushed the TV off its stand. Then they turned their attention to Hilda and Mum. "Arg!" cried Hilda. "They're all over me. I can feel them like ants." "Make a run for it," shouted Mum. Mum was right. The sensible course of action was to get out of the house, run for the mountains, and not to look back. As Hilda crawled out from underneath the armchair and sprinted toward the door, the invisible people gave a tiny cheer of victory. Hilda stopped and whirled around. "Oh, really," she yelled. "You think you've won, do you? I'll show you." She sprinted to the broom cupboard and pulled out an enormous broom. "Listen up, you pesky pinheads," she shrieked. "On behalf of the humans of my house, I shall now implement your forcible eviction from the premises." In a blind rage, Hilda dashed all around the living room and kitchen, pushing the broom in front of her. The air filled with clouds of dust and tiny cries of panic. "Eek! Ah! Oof! Ee!" "Get out!" cried Hilda, sweeping faster and harder. "Get out! Get 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 out!" She swept the invisible people across the floor and out onto the doorstep. "And stay out!" she yelled, slamming the door. Hilda turned back into the room, breathing hard. Mom was standing by the dinner table, staring at her open-mouthed. "That was awesome," said Mom. "Kind of scary, too." Hilda felt weak in the knees. I need to sit down, she said in a small voice. Mom brought her a chair. I'll make us some hot chocolate, she said. I'll have one too, if you're making some, called a doleful voice. Hilda turned towards the sound. Over in the far corner of the room, with his nose in a book about giants, lay the woodman. You! Cried Hilda. Are you still here? I was trying to read, said the woodman, but you were making an awful lot of noise. You could have helped us, said Hilda. After all, you're basically part of the family now. No, I'm not, said the woodman, putting his nose back in his book. While Hilda and the woodman drank their hot chocolate, Mum swept up the broken glass. We can't stay here, Mum said. Not if this is going to keep happening. We'll have to move houses. Hilda frowned. But there aren't any other houses in the valley. I was thinking of Trollberg. No, cried Hilda. We've always lived in the wilderness. I love it here. We can't stay if we're being attacked, Hilda. Yes, but nothing, said Mom. Finish your hot chocolate and go to bed, Hilda. We can talk about it in the morning. Hilda put down her mug, grabbed a broken pencil, and tore a page from her sketchbook. Dear invisible little guys who trashed my house, why are you so mad at me and my mom? Please tell me so I can fix it and we can all live in peace. From Hilda. She slipped the note into an envelope, put it out on the doorstep, and went upstairs to bed. Adventurers don't cry, Hilda told herself as she snuggled down beneath the blankets, but it was hard work being an adventurer all the time.